Okay, so the first thing I like to show is why are spreadsheets useful. Okay, you've probably used spreadsheets as just a table. So I don't know, number of memes and frequency. And you've probably just done like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you told me how many there were, 15, 16, etc. And then you probably copied and pasted that into a document. No one cares about that. You could have just done that in the document itself. Why is a spreadsheet useful? Because as soon as in the cell, as soon as I write equals, I can do maths. If I write equals in a cell, it means I want to do some calculation. And every one of these cells is a calculator. So if I go 5, have I told the cell that I want you to work something out by putting equals there? Yes? And then if I go 5 asterisk 2, that means I'm telling it to do, can you find the answer to 5 times by 2? See how it spits out 10? Now you're looking at me and going, how is that useful? Well, the point of that is that you can get the cells to talk to each other. So if I go this cell, I want this cell to equal the contents of this one plus 3. Has it worked out what the contents of A2 is? Add 3 to it. And now I can just change this. I can just change this up, 15, and it automatically does it. Why is that useful to you? Okay, if you are game to use spreadsheets based on what I've taught you, this may be the easiest assignment that you've ever done. Okay? And later today, if you've got time, I'll show my spreadsheet. I won't allow you to see the formula. I'll just show you the layout of my spreadsheet so that you can try to emulate. Okay? Let's do buying. So can you copy me here? Let's do a little label called buying shares. What information are you finding on the Yahoo Finance website? What number is important for you to find on the Yahoo Finance website to actually do buying calculations?
How much they cost.
Good. So what you would want in your buying shares setup is the company, little label here, the cost per share. That's the buying price. You could, actually that's a better label, buying price. What are the 3 parts of a share buying calculation? Yes?
Consideration.
Cons. Good. To do the consideration, what else do I need to know other than the buying price? What do I times by the buying price to get the consideration? Number of shares. So go number of shares. So now I can do consideration. What was the second bit of buying shares? No, that was the third bit. Brokerage. And because I'm making you guys use self-wealth, it's literally $9.50. The only trick is it's $9.50 in US if you're buying overseas. And then what was the third bit? Now hit me with the third bit. GST. Okay, let's make up a company. Mr. T. Burgers. Let's say I was buying them for, I'm just starting out, so it's like $1.23. Let's say you were buying 500 shares. The way I set up my spreadsheet is I colored anything that I need to put the numbers in myself, I highlight yellow, okay? But all of this, I can work it out. What was the consideration? What do I multiply together to get the consideration? Good. So how do I tell the cell that I want you to work something out? Equals. And what would I press? Or do I use the button? Do I click on something? Click. And then I use a little asterisk. Then this. Boom. It's worked out the consideration. Your self-wealth is $9.50. GST in Australia is what? What is that as a decimal? 0.1. Good. How do I tell the cell that you're working things out? Equals. So I want 10% of the brokerage, so 0.1 asterisk brokerage. And so the total cost of buying what am I going to do with those three numbers in those white? Yes?
You can do the equal sign and then you're going to look up the consideration brokerage and fees.
Plus. Done. Okay? Now the best thing about this is like the spreadsheet knows that the point of this is that you can do really repetitive calculations. Okay? So I've just set up a little cell that finds the total cost of buying. Can you guys see a little black square in the bottom right of the cell for total cost of buying? You can see it on the screen there. If you put your cursor over it, what happens to the cursor? It goes from white to... What color did it just change? It went to black. If I drag that down, that's going to do the same thing all the way down. So now if I just randomly put in $2.50 and 1,000. No, I haven't set that up, sorry. No, I just made a mistake on the video, that's fine. What you can actually do is select all of this. Select everything that you did calculations in. Can you see that there's a black box in the bottom right? I want all of those calculations in those cells. So if I drag it down, it's going to do maths in there. You want to keep the brokerage at 9.5 though. It tries to be too smart and change them. But now I can chuck in, I don't know, $2.50 and 1,000 shares. Can you see how it worked out the total cost of buying by itself? Make another one, $2.36 by 1,200 shares in that. Can you see it worked out the total cost of buying itself? Now, I don't want to give you all of this, but because we're a smarter group of kids this year, what is the only difference between buying and selling in the calculation?
Minus at the end.
Good. So if you look at this formula here, total return from selling, what do I need to change in the formula in this cell? Because right now it's adding them together. What do I need to do this time? And then change this one to a minus. And then I can use the little black square to drag it down. That's like 1/8 of your maths for this assignment already done. So what I'm hopefully showing you is that every time I show you a formula on the board, doing it by hand, you could literally do it on this. Okay? So that you could possibly come up with something that looks... This is how I'm going to mark your work, by the way. I made a spreadsheet. I'll be able to tell you whether you're right or wrong straight away. So 2023. So I'm going to leave this up. I'm not going to show you the formulae. But can you see how this is basically the same as what I just showed you? I've got a little place to do the buying price, number of shares. It works out the consideration. It works out the brokerage. Why do I have two different columns for brokerage? Last year, I don't know what brokerage they were using. So my spreadsheet had to be able to cover percentage or flat fee. Okay? If I scroll out, that's all of the maths that I'm going to teach you. Okay? There's capital gain. Down here. What is the capital gain? It's the return from selling minus the cost of buying. And then I can get that to spit out the subtraction over here. So ABB lost a lot of money. ABB lost over $5,000. Okay? So just giving you ideas. I'm happy for you to scroll around here and look at my setup. Okay? You can take screenshots of it if you want. The last thing I need to show you though is how do I show this in my DI? Okay? How do I show my working out in the DI? So I'm going to make a new Word document. So let's pretend that you had your buying shares section and you did all of your maths and you wanted to show the results. You would do something like this. You would screenshot, Shift Command Shift Command 4, buying shares for portfolio 2. You'd zoom it, okay? That's really small. It's barely able to see, but that's your results. All right? Does this spreadsheet show me any evidence that you knew the maths? This is just telling me the answers, okay? So how do you, if you're choosing to use a spreadsheet to do this DI, you need to be able to show me that you knew how to do the maths. Do you know how to show that?
Well, you just do the maths for one of the...
Yes, good. So that's called a model calculation. In the actual write-up, you need to show one example. So ABB, you could write something like ABB example. Consideration, brokerage, GST. Show the maths by hand, but you only do it once. I don't need to see it like 5 times, okay? And if you're using the spreadsheet as well, in your appendices, you're going to do this. You're going to go select this whole thing. You know, on your keyboard, there's that little button to the left of 1. It looks like a little squiggle. That's called a tilde button. If you look at this, I've highlighted the whole spreadsheet, and if I go Control tilde, can you see here? It's showing the operations that I did. You need to show that in your appendices to show that you didn't just get answers just randomly off something. Maths was done to get what you copied and pasted into your assignment. Okay? That's how you would utilize a spreadsheet for this assignment. So I'll stop the video now.